Hi Nat5, so we are still in the multicellular unit. We are looking at transport systems in plants and in particular how we can move water inside plants. So water is super important for all life on the planet. Let's not underestimate this, it is essential. So in plants you use it for lots of things. So for a start, if you dissolve things in water, then you can move chemicals by diffusion. That's important. For plant cells, they're absolutely essential for support. So what they do is make the cells turgid by swelling up the vacuole and then pushing it out to the cell wall, and that means that basically plants don't fall over. I mean, if a plant is lacking water, one of the things you see is it wilting because of this. If you have water evaporating from the leaf surface, which is what you will have all the time, this helps cool the plant so it stops it overheating. And you need it for photosynthesis. So this is just one of the most important things that they can have. Basically, it's really important. So there is a name for the movement of water through a plant, and that's called the transpiration stream. And it starts when it enters the roots and it ends when it exits the leaves. So it's going to move into the roots by osmosis from the high water concentration in the soil into a low inside the root. It's then going to move up the xylem, which we're going to talk about quite a bit, and then finally is going to evaporate through the stomata in the base of the leaf. So the roots, just to be clear on how this will actually work, as I say, osmosis, and you should know osmosis is the movement of water from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration through a selectively permeable membrane. So what we have here is a large surface area. So basically you've got a branch and then branches and the branches, and then you've got tiny little root hairs on even the surface of the cells, just trying to increase the surface area for this. And what we then get is movement of water into the plant. And then once it's in the base of the plant, it can then start to move up through the xylem. Okay, so what's xylem? I've mentioned it several times. So xylem is this vessel that carries water. You can think of it as basically the thinnest straw you could possibly make in a plant. Because how they make it is by putting together tiny little packets of dead columns of cells. And you can see them. This is a bit of celery inside a red food dye. You can actually see the bundles of xylem. So that's not one xylem, that's a bundle of xylem. And you can see them quite clearly if they get stained up. Okay, so, and this is it really under a microscope. To make sure that they don't fall over, so because it's just a dead tube, then they're thickened by a particular chemical called lignin. Okay, the common word for xylem is wood, so that's pretty strong. So there are plants that have to make xylem every year. These are perennial plants, and you know what it looks like because I'm sure you know that if you can count the rings inside a tree to work out how old that tree is, each of those rings is a ring of xylem that's been made every year. So what they do to make a new section of xylem is take a column of cells, thicken up with lignin so that you've got strength, and then basically knock out the end walls. So you remove all of the cell contents, and now you've got a really thin tube, as thin as you can make because it's only one cell thick. Dead cells, really, it's just cellulose and lignin, and you can now carry water and any dissolved minerals that you've managed to pick up as well from the soil. Little mnemonic, if it helps. Here we go, so xylem, that's WXY, because xylem carries water. The L is for lignin. That's the support. The E is for expired because xylem is dead, and the M is for the minerals that it also carries. If it helps, go ahead and use it. So the final destination for water, if it's going to leave the plant in the transpiration stream, is the stomata. So the stomata are these tiny little pores that you've got in the bottom of the leaf surface, and lots of different pictures of these here. Three gases that you can actually exchange here. So you get water, well, water vapor to be more precise. We have carbon dioxide and we have oxygen. So if we want to open and close the stomata, what we use are guard cells, and the guard cells are the only other photosynthetic cells apart from the mesophyll. So we've got the palisade mesophyll, the spongy mesophyll, and then we've got the guard cells. Now what they do is when they are turgid, they will pull the stoma open, and when they are plasmolysed, they will close it. Okay, so if you think of them as kind of two kind of thick sausagey shaped cells, and on either side, and when they're turgid they pull up against each other, so you end up with a little gap, and when they're plasmolysed they flop shut and snap the little hole in the middle closed. So you have to be able to give factors that would affect transpiration, so how fast water would move through and out of the leaves. So these are quite obvious, I think, if you just think them through. Wind speed, so basically the windier it is, the more transpiration, because that's going to be continually removing water from around the leaf. Humidity, that's the kind of opposite way around, because the more kind of muggy it is, the less transpiration, but the lower the humidity, so the drier it is, the more transpiration you get. Temperature is an up and up, so the higher the temperature, the more the transpiration. And surface area is important as well, so if you've got a larger leaf surface or you've got more stomata, that is going to give you more transpiration. Genuinely, just think of the best day for drying clothes. You want it to be hot, you want it to be dry, you want it to be windy, and you want to spread them out. And that's you.